So the first book that I read for my sabbatical is called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and it's by John Mark Comer. The book's premise is based on a quote by Dallas Willard, who was a philosopher and a spiritual leader. And the quote is that hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life in our day. And then he says, you must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. And so that launches Comer in his book. And he's got 3 sections in his book. The first is called The Problem. And it's the idea that distraction is evil. And so we often think of evil as sin, things that we do or that we don't do that are a problem to God. But evil is actually far more cunning and subversive from that. And so he says both sin and busyness have the same effect. They cut off your connection to God, to other people, and even to yourself. And so the idea is that, hurrying and love are incompatible. And I think we could all say, and myself included, that our worst moments in life tend to come when we're rushed and we're hurried and we're anxious, or we're upset that we can't get something done in time. And so we treat people poorly, we say rude things, we do rude things, and we just don't have time for God or for other people in our lives, or even for ourselves, because we're so busy rushing from thing to thing. So then he kind of just lays out some reasons for why we are so busy. And one of the things that is the biggest one in our modern life is just the internet, our devices, all those kind of things. And so he then goes on to list all of the crazy things about problems with cell phones and devices and social media and just all these things that are distractions and addictions for us in our lives. Everything on our phones these days is being designed for distraction and addiction, because the more they can have you on their phone, the more money they can make off of you. And so addiction is a relentless pull to a substance or an activity that becomes so compulsive, it ultimately interferes with everyday life. And so based on that definition, he says that almost everyone is addicted to the internet in some way. So this causes a huge problem with our souls and leads to what he calls hurry sickness. And this is characterized by irritability, hypersensitivity, where you get your feelings hurt for nothing, workaholism, or really just non-stop activity. This is a problem for me. You just feel like you need to fill your day with everything and you can't stop. Emotional numbness, out of order priorities, lack of care for your body, and then escapist behaviors, which is like, oh, I finally do get some time and I'm going to binge watch Netflix, or I'm going to watch YouTube all day, or I'm going to spend the whole day flipping through X or whatever it may be at the time. And then he talks about spiritual disciplines slipping because you don't have time for God or spiritual discipline in your life. And this leads to the final one, which is isolation. And in isolation, it makes you feel disconnected from God, from others, and even from your own soul. And so hurry kills relationship, joy, gratitude, and wisdom. So after he's presented all this, he moves on to part 2, which is the solution. And he says the solution to an overbusy life is not more time, it's to slow down and simplify our lives around what really matters. But the truth of the matter is, and I really believe this as a Christian, that you cannot do this yourself. You are imperfect, you have limitations, and you cannot be disciplined enough on your own, even practicing stoicism, which is something that I have looked into and tried. You just cannot be disciplined on your own enough to unhurry your life yourself and get through your addictions. And so he says the secret comes from Matthew chapter 11. And in Matthew chapter 11, it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And this is Jesus talking. And this is the secret. He calls it the secret of the easy yoke. And so when you're in the easy yoke with Jesus, you're being invited to stop trying to shoulder everything yourself, to use brute force and speed to control outcomes you can't control anyway, because we have help available to yourself. Again, here's Dallas Willard again. It says, "In this truth lies the secret of the easy yoke. The secret involves living as Jesus lived in the entirety of his life, adopting his overall lifestyle. Our mistake is to think that following Jesus consists in loving our enemies, going the second mile, turning the other cheek, suffering patiently and hopefully, while living the rest of our lives as everyone else around us does. So it's a strategy that's bound to fail." And so when we hear about this easy yoke of Jesus, we say, oh, we need that, right? But the truth is, it's difficult because Jesus said we'd have to die to ourselves in order to follow him. And when you accept God into your life, you have to say you want this lifestyle. But the problem is that we don't take the steps to actually live and be like Jesus. And Jesus' invitation is to take up his yoke, to travel through life at his side, learning from him how to shoulder the weight of life with ease. So life is hard. Jesus's life was hard. He died, but he was also resurrected. And in the end, he won. And so it's not that Jesus is calling to make your life easy. It's that an easy life is not an option, but an easy yoke is an option. So what you're called to do is be an apprentice to Jesus, and you have to organize your life around three basic goals. Be with Jesus, become like Jesus, and do what he would do if he were you. So if you do those things, which are not easy to do in and of themselves, but with Jesus and the help of the Holy Spirit, he can help you do it. And it's not going to make life easy, but it's going to make life seem easier. The easy yoke. It'll help you be able to do it because you don't have to do it on your own. So after you've realized that, then the next step is you have to unhurry your life. And he gives you principles for unhurrying your life. The first one is the idea of practicing silence or solitude. Eremos is the Greek word. And it basically means going off to the quiet place. And when you look at Jesus's life, the busier he was, the more his ministry progressed, the more difficult things he had to do, the more time he spent in quiet and solitude with God. And so it's that quiet place where we can reconnect with God. And it involves studying scripture. It involves just being silent before God. And it's basically getting away alone and in quiet to spend time with God. But the problem with this is, it's easy to get quiet externally, but you also have to work to be quiet internally. And actually, the next book that I'm reading now talks about that, and we'll talk about that later. But it does require solitude. And solitude is not isolation. It's actually time when you can focus on your connection to God You can focus on your connection to other people. And so it's the same idea as what is popular right now and people call mindfulness. But you have to organize your life and you have to make room for it. And so the way I've been applying this to my own life is I've been getting up early and I've been reading the Gospels right now, and I'm reading it with trying to be in tune to how Jesus lived his life. So I'm not reading him necessarily looking at what he taught, but I'm looking based on what he did. And as I'm looking at what he did, I'm trying to apply what he did to my life so that I can live like Jesus too. I spend some time praying after that, and I spend some time in silence just listening. And another way that I've been able to get the quiet time right now is I've been going and playing golf, and I play a lot of golf by myself. And at least once or twice a week, I play completely by myself, and I use that time to appreciate nature, to be thankful to God, and to be silent and just listen and be open to what God is telling me while I'm going around playing golf. So this second kind of spiritual discipline that he talks about to eliminate hurry from your life is Sabbath. And Sabbath is just the idea of taking one day a week to stop. Christians like to think it's Sunday, but it can really be any day. And you're going to take this time and you're literally going to stop. You're going to rest. And he talks about it as Sabbath is meant to be rest and Sabbath is meant to be worship. And that's all you're supposed to do on the Sabbath is rest and worship. And, you know, if you need to take a break from your life, and the best way to do that is literally to just completely unplug and take a day off and rest. And so basically, if it's not around worshiping God and it's not around resting and having fun, it basically says, what would you do if for 24 hours that would fill your soul with a deep, throbbing joy? What would make you spontaneously combust with wonder, awe, gratitude, and praise? So you're going to try to do that. Now, eventually you want to get to the point where like you really are just resting and only doing things with you and your family that you want to do. But one of the great ways, and the way that I'm applying this right now, is he talks about having a tech Sabbath. And I have done this for a couple weeks now, and it's been amazing. On Sundays, I literally leave my device plugged in by my bed, and I don't take it with me. And I don't, you know, I might watch a movie with my family or something, but I am not on my computer, I am not on social media, and I am not even having my phone around me for an entire day. And it has been amazing. And I've just had great time with my family. And I really encourage you to start by trying that too. And then you can put other things into your Sabbath as well. You know, just try to focus one day a week on nothing but, you know, going to church and going to worship, spending time with your family, resting, taking a nap, doing whatever it is that you find fun while not being attached to a device. The final thing he talks about is simplicity. And simplicity is, it says, the worries of this life, the deceitfulness of wealth, and the desires for other things come in and choke the word, making it unfruitful. These are Jesus's words. And Jesus teaches that like materialism and money and other things other than God are not making you happy. And there's no way that you can serve both God and stuff, or both God and money. So this is very similar to the idea of minimalism. And he presents this definition of minimalism. It says, the intentional promotion of the things we most value and the removal of everything that distracts from them. And then he also says, simplicity is an inward reality that can be seen in an outward lifestyle of choosing to leverage time, money, talents, and possessions towards what matters most. So minimalism, or the idea of simplicity, minimalism or simplicity is really about decluttering your life, not just decluttering your stuff. And so you need to really think about getting rid of anything that doesn't add value to your life, anything that doesn't give you joy, and too much stuff in a small space, anything that you no longer use or love, anything that leads to a feeling of disorganization. So just get rid of things in your life that you don't need. And there are so many things that you can do. Some ways that I'm doing this in my own life is I am trying to only buy things that I need and things that will last a long time. So like fewer, better things. I haven't bought any clothes since I've been back in the United States because I already just have a ton and I don't need any more. I have been, I haven't bought new golf clubs. The ones I have work just fine. We recently bought a house, and we literally bought like the smallest house that fit our needs without anything more. And we bought something older, and we're doing some fix-up things in it ourselves, because we just don't need more stuff and more room. And so share things, get in the habit of giving things away, living by a budget. Things are tight on this sabbatical. We're trying to only spend as little money as possible. We're trying to learn to enjoy the simple things in life, maybe things that you don't have to own, like time with people and togetherness and meals with friends, the simple pleasures in life. And so, just trying to simplify and get rid of anything that you don't need, whether it's stuff or just things that suck your time. And that leads into the final one, which is slowing. This idea of slowing, it's like we achieve inner peace when our schedules are aligned with our values. For your apprenticeship to Jesus, if our values are life with Jesus and growing in maturity towards love, joy, and peace, then our schedules and our practices that make up our days and weeks, which really constitute our rules of life, and they're the ways that we achieve inner peace. So some things that I've been doing from this book for slowing down your overall pace of life. It talks about turning your smartphone into a dumb phone and basically taking anything off your phone that distracts you or you don't need. He even talks about taking like all your social media, your emails, your schedule. Just take everything off your phone and only do those things on your desktop at the times when you're actually setting yourself to do them. And that way you're not distracted by your phone and you're really only using your phone as a communication device and nothing else. I've done a lot of this and I'm trying to be on my phone less. He talks about parenting your phone, which is put it to bed somewhere and make it sleep in. A lot of us keep our phones by our bed. I'm guilty of this. I am working on putting my phone someplace else and not looking at it from a certain time in the evening till, after I get up and I've done my quiet time in the morning. Talk about possibly getting rid of your TV. We actually did this in China. It's been great. We do not own a TV at all. And it's been great not owning a TV. We just do other things. When we do want to watch a movie or something, we watch it on a computer or whatever, and we try not to spend too much time on our computer and make TV not a distraction. Work on a single task at a time. Take a day for silence and solitude once a month to be alone. Take up journaling. Spend time on mindfulness and meditation. Taking long vacations and actually making them restful. Don't do a million things nonstop on your vacation. And it also talks about cooking your own food and eating it with your family and with your friends. I'm trying to do a lot of these things. And I think if you do these things, you're going to end up with what it says in 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 11. And it says, make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. So just to reorganize your life around 3 simple goals. around the practices of Jesus. Simplify your life around the practice of Jesus and live from a center of abiding. So it's to live through a place of love, joy, and peace. So it's not about simplicity, it's about the freedom to focus on what matters most. And so take the easy yoke upon you and really spend your life on what matters most.